Hello guys, what is up? My name is Dylan. Welcome back to the Popcorn Podcast. This is episode number 10. We finally hit double digits. I'm once again joined by two wonderful guests. Guys, welcome back.
Hello.
Hola.
Thank
Do you want to recall your names?
My name is Ebony Abuaji. I'm an actress, student, photographer,
And last but not least,
full-time sufferer.
there you go.
There we go. Lola, screenwriter, dying inside.
Yes.
I haven't got much else going on.
That wasn't as painful as
My
for the
first
first time you introduced
I didn't know
yourself.
what to say. I was caught very off
Hi,
guard.
Lola.
Hi.
So guys, why are we here today?
Talk about Asteroid City.
Asteroid
About
City. Wes.
Wes.
The man of the hour, Wes. So like we just said, we are going to be talking about Asteroid City, Wes Anderson's brand new film that just came out pretty recently. We've all watched it over the past couple of days or so. So yesterday for you. Yes. So let's get into it. Guys, what do we think about Wes Anderson as a whole? Are you a fan of Wes Anderson? Are you not a fan? What's your stance on him as a filmmaker? Ebony, do you want us to kick this one off?
I really like Wes Anderson's films.
Yeah.
I say visually, I'm like very drawn to them. I enjoy his color palettes. I like the kind of the awkward humor, the brutal honesty of the dialogue. It scratches an itch in my brain.
Yeah, I'm a
Yourself, Lola?
fan. I like how recognizable he is. I like, just in terms of writing, how he writes his characters.
Because you are, first and foremost.
A writer.
There you go.
I know, insufferable. No, I think they're really fun. I think they're really, they're silly, but in a really pretentious kind of way. I get why people don't like him, but
I would say he's a bit of a Marmite director, but
Yeah.
I think he definitely has a Marmite director. Like, you either love him or hate him sort of situation. What did you think I said?
I knew you said Marmite. But
Your Marmite director? No, but I think the majority of people who watch his films really like his stuff. But yeah, as for myself, I mean, I think obviously this goes without saying, but I think he's one of the most unique visionaries in filmmaking and has been for the past, I'd say, 20 or so years. He's very much an auteur who's developed his own style. Like you said, when you're watching a Wes Anderson film, and the whole aesthetic that he's built for himself. Some of those sort of most common visual elements in his films are like his use of symmetry. That's one of the things I think is really sort of one of the reasons why people love his aesthetic so much is symmetry, because symmetry is really pleasing to the human eye. Symmetry, tableau style compositions. So he'll pay homage and reference other sort of famous artworks. Like, for example, in Moonrise Kingdom, there's a shot of characters that emulates the famous.
oh, the binoculars. What is that? What you're talking about?
No, the Da Vinci painting of the Last Supper. There's a shot that pays homage to that. So there's that kind of meta sort of self-awareness in those compositions that sort of play in well with his sense of humor. Also his, like you said, Ebony, his the color schemes that he uses are very particular. I know in the Grand Budapest Hotel, when the hotel is sort of in its glory days, the rooms are really rich and vibrant reds and purples and stuff. And sort of as the plot sort of goes on and the hotel sort of it deteriorates, so do the colors. So the way he uses colors is really interesting. And of course, he also has a big preference for long takes. So there's this deep sense of continuity and connection with the characters that I feel is always established in his films. The Darjeeling Limited uses a lot of those. Those slow-mo shots of the three of them running for the train and those kind of shots. But yeah, no, I just find that he is one of the best directors in really creating these unique worlds and really fully immersing the audiences within them. And I think, very few filmmakers can kind of compete with his ability to do that. But despite Wes Anderson, I think, being a director who definitely prioritizes aesthetic over realism, I feel like he always aims to tell human stories and stories that people can connect with. I feel like he's definitely done some better than others. But on that note, I want to ask, what are you guys' favorite Wes Anderson films? If you had to say top three. Because I remember speaking to you, Ebony, like before, like when we were first becoming friends, you mentioned that one of your favorite films is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Still is my favorite Wes Anderson film.
Yeah.
Life Aquatic. Then I would say Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Mm.
And then probably Moonrise Kingdom.
Moonrise
Yeah.
Kingdom. Yourself, Lola?
The Royal Tenenbaums first,
Yeah.
then Darjeeling Limited, and then
Okay.
Rushmore.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
So, yeah. So my top three, from third to first, I would say, is The Royal Tenenbaums. Second, I'd say Fantastic Mr. Fox. Number one for me, I know this is like the go-to kind of answer, but I would have to say the Grand Budapest Hotel. Why do you like The Life Aquatic so much? Because the thing is, right, with Wes Anderson films, I find that people like our responses to what our favorites of his are so different. So like I feel like that like he has this ability, like loads of different people can take like bits from his films and really connect with them. So yeah, like I don't know, like what did you like? You said it's one of your favorite films, right? So and I've only seen that film the once, but it didn't really connect with me that well. But what is it about that film that really struck a nerve with you?
I'm not sure. I think visually I quite enjoyed it. I like the yellows and the blues and the reds. So I think aesthetically it drew me in originally, which is why I thought, I'm going to give it a watch.
Yeah.
I love Bill Murray, which is another like addition to that. I found it really funny. I liked his characters kind of like just like the whole way through. He's trying to prove something to you. Like he has an understanding of something, and I feel like maybe I connected to the fact that he spends the whole time trying to prove it, and then even when he finds it, like it's kind of like it comes to an end and it's real. And I feel like it was maybe at a time where I felt like I had something to prove to myself that other people. I feel like I related to his character a lot within it. I feel like that's maybe why I was so drawn to it, because when I think about it, like I ask other people and they like, I didn't particularly like it.
Yeah.
And I was like, should I change my opinion now? Because
no.
And then I realized that just for me as a whole, I really enjoyed it. I liked the dynamics, like when he's talking to his son, he's like particularly not his son, and then the ex-wife and then the girlfriend, all of that. It was the right kind of awkward, but based on the fact that they've all suffered something.
Yeah.
I think I was at a point where I was kind of like not like going through some emotional turmoil or anything like that, but just kind of I was having my own struggles.
Right moment, right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just held that for me.
Okay.
But I've now watched it way too many times to the point where like it's something that I can only watch on occasion, because I bought the film. Yeah. I was like, I watched it. I used it to get to sleep for like a whole month or so, because it was just like it meant that so much to me at the time. So yeah. And then obviously like Fantastic Mr. Fox, it's just a classic film, really.
Yeah.
I will watch with my family.
It's such good fun, that film, yeah. I've only seen I've seen all of his films, but I've only seen them once, apart from Grand Budapest, which I've seen like twice now. I'll talk about Grand Budapest in a second. You said, Lola, that your favorite is The Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
What about that film is so captivating to you?
I don't know. I think similar to Ebony, where it's like watched it right place, right time.
Yeah.
One thing that I find hilarious is Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, and they shot that 3 months before they shot Zoolander.
Yeah.
So it's this beautiful, heart-wrenching film about family and self-identity, and then they went off and did fucking Zoolander.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's really satisfying because like nobody's really a bad person in it, but it is it's the family struggle.
Yeah.
You know? And everyone gets their own resolve, even the side characters. Like Bill Murray, he's pathetic in it.
Yeah.
It's great. I don't know. I just think that I don't know. I just really liked it. There was something about it that really caught me.
Yeah, and that's kind of all you need. For me, Grand Budapest Hotel, I love Fantastic Mr. Fox, but Grand Budapest Hotel, for me, I think that's when Wes Anderson really struck gold. That's, for me, his masterpiece, if I'd say. I think it has the most impressive aesthetic of any of his films, and that's obviously saying a lot since all of his films are beautiful. I think that's the one where his aesthetic definitely feels like a character of itself, like just the way he blends miniatures with sort of real world elements to create a world that feels brimming with life, but also has this classic and timeless sensibility to it as well. The way he sort of constantly changes aspect ratios and the color palettes to sort of differentiate the different storylines and the past and the present, I think is really, really cool. Of course, with all of his films, the entire cast is absolutely terrific, especially Ralph Fiennes. I think he's just so charismatic. He has so much energy. He really brings that sort of Shakespearean charm that he's known for to this, like, really, it's like it's an adventure film at the end of the day, and you're just on board from the get-go, at least I was.
What do you call that? When he switches in between
aspect ratios.
No, like you said, because in The Life Aquatic, the underwater sequences, he uses, it's not
montage,
not animation, but like they're not
stop motion.
Stop motion, yeah.
Stop motion, yeah.
That's another thing that I think that he does when you have them both like side by side.
Oh wait, side by side. Are you talking about stop motion or are you talking about split screen?
No. When he uses the stop motion in like a real life.
No, yeah.
Like when they're in the boat and stuff, and then
like with the alien in Asteroid City.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Stop motion.
Stop motion.
But yeah, Grand Budapest, I think like it's a film that's both cheerful and surprisingly dark at times, and there are moments between characters that are really emotional and it's like surprisingly really touched me, and like that really caught me off guard. It's just a great adventure film as well. Like I think that goes over people's heads a lot, but that's my personal favorite. Should we talk about Asteroid City then?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I'm going to kick this discussion off then on Asteroid City.
I
guess that's why we're here. With a brief plot synopsis, as we always do. Spoiler warning, guys, if you haven't seen Asteroid City, please go and check it out and come back to this discussion at a later time. But here goes. So Asteroid City, the film is essentially a play within a play. Mm-hmm. It follows a writer on his world-famous fictional play, Asteroid City. This story within a story follows a grieving father who travels with his tech-obsessed family to a small rural American desert town in the 1950s, known as, of course, Asteroid City, to compete in a junior stargazing event. This event is organized to bring together students and parents from across the country for fellowship and scholarly competition, all of which is ultimately disrupted in spectacular fashion by world-changing events. Okay, guys, so before we went into Asteroid City, were you excited for this film?
Yeah.
You were really excited. What about you, Ebony, as well? And
yes, I was excited.
And that, I'm assuming, is just because of your love for Wes Anderson as a whole, right? Yeah, I think like he's one of those few directors where, if there's Wes Anderson film coming out, you're going to be there, right? Mm-hmm. There's no question. What was your initial reaction to the film after walking out of it?
What the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah, it was a little bit like after watching Beau's Afraid. I was kind of...
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of,
but in like, okay.
Like in that sense of, I wasn't...
Wow.
This is the podcast group where we don't actually know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
And then we just come and talk and try to figure it out.
It didn't really scratch the itch, is how I felt afterwards.
Yeah.
I felt a little bit unsatisfied. I feel like...
Okay.
Maybe because there was a larger cast this time. I had kind of like a surface level interaction with the film, whereas like with like any of the films that we mentioned before, there was a lot more intimate connections with characters, and you dove in a little bit deeper into it because there was so much going on, and then it was a play within a play, and then they were coming in and out, and there were so many people that I was like categorizing in my head the whole way through. I got left on like a surface level sort of thing, and that for me meant that I was like, whilst I enjoyed it visually, I was very excited for like, I immediately when I saw the trailer, I liked the color palette, I liked the Western style influence, like that drew me in. I was like, okay, I know I'm going to watch it and I will enjoy it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, aside from just watching it as a pleasurable watching experience, I was a bit like, oh,
you're a bit detached.
I wanted a little bit more.
Yes.
But I still, visually, it was great. I enjoyed seeing new actors in the world of Wes Anderson, but I did kind of feel like I missed out on something, and I couldn't put my finger on it at the time. I was just like, oh, maybe it's because I'm watching this at 10 a.m. in the morning, and I was confused. But I do still, now that I've like had time to sleep on it, feel like I did miss out a little bit on something.
Yeah, I think I feel pretty similar to you. We will get into that stuff in a second. Lola, what about yourself? Like, did you...
I didn't know what it was about. I gave that quite a high rating.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Didn't know what it was about, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like I could sit here and I could try and figure it out, and I could try and be really like film student-y about it.
Yeah.
No, that's a waste of time. So like I might as well just enjoy the film.
Yeah.
And yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how it made me feel, because I was like, wow, this is like families coming together and, just like being.
Yeah.
And maybe that's all that it really has to be about, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like it's like we all kind of get the gist of the film, but there are like certain things that I think, like, not just us, like I've seen a lot of people online like well, scratching their heads over, but it's not confusing in like the Beau is Afraid sense where you're like, oh, what are all these metaphors or whatever. It's more so like, is this film overly complicated for the sake of being overly I don't know. Maybe like I'm sure some people have just got it instantly, and maybe there isn't much more to get. Maybe this is just what it is. But we will get on into that stuff in a second. I did want to ask, because obviously we just kicked off the discussion. What did you actually enjoy about the film? Like, what did you like about Asteroid City? What did you take away from it? Ebony?
I thought the alien was really cool.
Yes.
The design of the alien.
Yeah.
I wasn't what I was expecting when I was hearing alien.
Same.
I was just like, who is this slender man?
Yeah.
I enjoyed, like I said, seeing new actors be part of the world.
Who was your favorite new addition to the cast?
I really enjoyed Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
I thought that she
was
suited it
amazing.
really well, and the way that she played it was that I felt very drawn to her character. I would say I like the fact that there were loads of kids in this one, and the kids were quite funny. Visually, I love the colour palette on this one. I'm going to keep saying it.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying it because
We'll
I
probably
really
mention
do.
it a couple more times.
I'm very like visually. If a film doesn't draw me in visually, I get really disconnected from it completely.
Yeah.
Well, you matched
And
your top to the
it-
colour palette.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did, yeah.
No, and then I was going for a little bit of a vibe today. I was going to wear a blazer, but I thought it'd be too hot.
Yeah, maybe a bit too
Yeah,
hot,
and then what else did I like?
And that's the episode, guys. What about yourself, Lola?
I loved like the little dance that kid did, Dwight.
Yeah.
Like his relationship with those like country singers.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cute. That was
it was
adorable. I loved Steve Carell.
Oh.
He was my favorite by far. He was just like, yeah. I thought Tom Hanks was great. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, Steve Carell.
Yeah.
He's so tired.
I think that's always going to be one of the I think that's always going to be one of the strengths of Wes Anderson's films. Like these actors flock to in herds to be cast in one of his films, and he's able to cast these massive actors even in the smallest of roles, and those just they play into everything. They have an effect on everything. So yeah, the cast is great as usual. I really love Jason Schwartzman. I know he's basically one of Wes Anderson's like leading guys at this point. But I think he was definitely the most interesting character, and the relationship he sort of built with Scarlett Johansson's character was one of the more interesting aspects of the film. I felt like similar to what you were saying, Ebony, like the pair of them, you're talking about Scarlett Johansson, but I think the both of them really found like a nice balance between sort of like playing humor, but also like just the right amount of emotion, sort of when they were delivering lines and whatever. I know Jason Schwartzman's very deadpan in this film, but like I really liked his character. I'm not too sure. I don't know if people were mixed on him or not, but like I really enjoyed him. I loved Bryan Cranston's narration throughout.
Yes.
I don't think you could have picked a better person to narrate the film than Bryan Cranston. He was fantastic. And like you said, Ebony, the scene with the alien, that for me was the best scene in the film, I think. The design for the character, was not expecting that whatsoever. But speaking of which, the aliens, I remember when seeing the trailer, I remember the cast included like Tilda Swinton, Margot Robbie, and a couple of others who weren't in the trailer. So I remember having conversations with people like, oh my God, are these guys going to be the aliens? It must be the aliens, right? Yeah. But then the opening credits happened and it sort of says which cast member is playing what. And like it was revealed that Jeff Goldblum is playing the alien.
Which is perfect.
And there's only one of them. So, I mean, I'm not saying I was disappointed or anything, but because it kind of worked. But yeah, no, the alien design was really cool. I thought it was very, very funny. Like that whole scene was simultaneously sort of hilarious and really intense at the same time. It filled me with a sense of both dread and wonder. I think that was the best scene in the entire film. Like just how the spacecraft just comes out and it all starts going green. Everyone's dead silent, and you just hear Alexandre Desplat's score with those two piano keys, like it was like it was such a the cinema just went completely silent. I remember,
and when he posed, when he took out the camera,
good.
I was like, no, the flash is gonna set off the alien. They're all gonna die.
Yeah, no, they said
and then he's like, it was so cute.
Aww.
Yeah, that whole scene was amazing. And then when it comes back at the end as well, to drop the asteroid back off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been inventoried.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to hit someone with the asteroid. Like, just get someone.
I think there's something really funny about the fact that that whole ditch is one massive like in the size of an entire asteroid.
And it's that thing.
And it's just that little...
Ding, the
Yeah.
football.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, this is also like, this plays in just to the humor of the whole film. Like I said before, Wes Anderson feels like a very Marmite director. You're either on board with his like super razor sharp, witty humor, or you're not. Not all of it works for me all the time, but I was still able to find moments of levity sprinkled here and there throughout this film, as I do with most of his films. Anything else you guys want to add with what you loved about the film?
So in the first bit where what's her name?
Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Where she's talking about the play.
Scarlett Johansson.
Sorry.
Who's that? Small time actor.
Where she's talking about the play where she commits suicide.
Yeah.
And then everybody sort of forgot about it. And then when that shot comes up,
Yeah. Oh my God.
like
yeah.
the cinema was dead quiet, and this woman at the back went, "No shit, fuck," and everybody was like, "No," and my mum was next to me, and she was like, "How could she?" I was like, "Mum, they talked about this earlier." She was like, "You're wrong," and then
Yeah.
she starts talking. She was like, "Okay, maybe I overreacted."
Yeah.
It's fine. But I thought that was like a really nice little subtle thing that they did.
Yeah.
Again, just good little Chekhov's gun.
But she didn't die.
No, she
No,
didn't.
She didn't die. No.
No.
No. She didn't. She just left though, but her character and Jason Schwartzman's character, they never had that resolved. He just woke up and everyone had gone, right?
But I don't think that they wanted to resolve either.
No. But it was like, because they had their relationship in the film was like one of the main sort of threads. So I don't know.
I like the kids. You know his kids. The
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I feel like they were trying to make more of a point of how detached he felt from the girls. You know, when he said that he thought that they were aliens,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
and then in every shot that he was in with them, they were kind of just in the
Yeah.
foreground.
Yeah.
They were always
maybe,
in that. They were always somewhat detached from him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was quite interesting because they were weird, but they were so funny when they were doing the little burial thing.
Yeah.
And then he comes in.
That kind of reminded me of like Macbeth with the three witches, like
Yeah.
double toilet.
Well, he
that kind
calls
of
them witches.
No, literally, yeah. But maybe that is part of what the film is, I guess, trying to be about, is the fact that everyone is looking up at the skies trying to see aliens when the aliens might be themselves. They don't really know.
and
who
it's
they
like,
are.
um,
No, I swear to God, I did.
write that down?
No, I swear, it's not on my notes. I promise.
It's a good point because like when is Steve Carell's character? He's like, your kids are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's this whole thing of like how they're alienated from society. These are all the different kinds of people that you would not see in normal society.
Yes.
And it's like highlighted in the fact that she's an actress, she's the idol, but for other people she's just an idol.
Yeah.
Same way the alien is just an alien. Like they're two separate worlds. So I feel like everyone within the thing of it are people who are usually isolated from normal society, so they've kind of been alienated within their worlds.
Oh,
So
definitely.
he's now like a widower, so that's an abnormal thing from, and then the grandfather being like the whole time like, I'm not there. What is he called? Is it wet nanny? What is he called? The weird phrase for being a babysitter basically the whole time. So he's obviously lost his daughter and then become this weird kind of babysitter for the three girls, and constantly then. Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting, the whole thing of like you're saying, like they're looking to the skies, whereas like, you know, it's
They're right in
the
front of
alien.
them.
It's like
Yeah.
and the fact that it inventoried the fact that it's the asteroids on Earth. It's probably like, we just need to check what's going on here. So to them, they're just like, what is this? Whereas they're like, what the hell is going on up there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely, for sure. But yes, I know we touched upon this when we were talking about initial reactions, but at the end of the day, this film was very mixed for me, I think, and sounds like it's sort of the same with you guys. I thought, and I'm a bit sad to say this, but I thought that one of my favorite aspects of the film, when I walked out of the cinema, was the aesthetic and whatever. And yes, it is very pretty, it's very impressive. The set design is amazing. The color scheme, I was interested to see like Wes Anderson essentially just go to a different location in the desert and sort of bring his unique style to it. Great. But I actually thought like the visuals were working against the story. I just don't feel like those two aspects gelled for me in a way that I would have liked for it to happen. Like the synergy wasn't there. like with something like the Grand Budapest Hotel or the Royal Tenenbaums or Fantastic Mr. Fox. Like I said, everything was very impressive because, of course, it's Wes Anderson. He has such an attention to detail. But like, I thought overall the aesthetic kind of hindered the story. And as a result, I just didn't feel the emotional core of the film as much as I think was intended. It's about like this guy coming to terms with the death of his wife and how that affects his relationships with his kids and the people around him. Yeah, I don't know. Something about those two elements, the story and the visuals, just didn't gel for me quite well this time.
Yeah.
And I could never really sort of buy into like I said, the emotional core of it as well. But I don't know if that was just me. I really felt like a detachment there.
I was talking, I can't remember who, but I was talking to somebody after watching it, and they were saying, especially after the French like it started after the Grand Budapest, but especially after the French Dispatch, it feels like Wes Anderson has sort of like cornered himself.
Yeah.
He can only do these like elaborate, like insanely visual stories, and then in a way kind of like abandon the actual substance of the film. So it's like he has to like keep one-upping himself.
Yeah.
And then I feel like that was really, that it made sense for this one, because it's like, wow, this is like so visually insane.
Yeah.
What the fuck is it about? You know?
Yeah, I think I still liked Asteroid City better than the French Dispatch, and the reason for that is because the French Dispatch was like 3 different stories, and it was essentially him just experimenting with all these crazy visual styles. Very, very impressive, but I really struggled to buy into any one of those stories, like again with it from like an emotional perspective. This is much more, I guess, he tried to simplify it, but it still feels very, I don't want to say like self-indulgent, but like Wes Anderson being like, yes, I'm Wes Anderson. Like the whole thing with like it being a play in a play. I don't know how much all the black and white footage, those characters, I don't know how much that added to the Asteroid City story that I was really kind of trying to buy into. I don't know how those two really benefited from the existence of one another. I felt like it would have been much better if they just did Asteroid City.
Yeah.
Like that's what I feel. Like I love Adrian Brody. I love seeing Margot Robbie in the film for however short amount of time she was in there for, and Bryan Cranston I thought like once again was terrific. Edward Norton, of course. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't fully gel for me properly.
I mean, it's difficult because I feel like when you look at like his first couple of movies that were nowhere near as elaborate and like the color palettes, and he hadn't come into his niche yet.
Yeah.
I feel like ultimately when you go from something like that to something so extreme and it becomes what you're known for.
Yeah.
Even when you want to dial it back and you want to make it more about the characters, because ultimately, like when you look at this film, they're not as much caricatures of people like you have in like the Royal Tenenbaums. How even though they are real life characters, they're built up in the way that Wes Anderson like typically does, whereas in this, because there are so many people and so many stories overlapping, it feels much more like real life interactions, and it's a lot more muted when it comes to like how overdone the characters are. So you're expecting a more of an intimate level film, but then you're so heavily bombarded by the brightness of it that you're like, it puts that wall, like you said, you feel disconnected from it. I feel like if it was slightly more muted, it would have felt more like I don't want to say more regular film, but I feel like there's a better way of articulating it. But it would have felt a bit more intimate as well.
Yes.
But then I feel like when you've got yourself caught up and like you've cornered yourself in a niche of that's what people expect to see from you, then of course that's probably why it was followed up with like, I'm going to make it look the way that the rest of my films do look. Because then you would look at it and people would argue, well, even though it's Wes Anderson, you'd be like, oh, well, it's not a Wes Anderson film. But then is that a fault of him or a fault of the viewer for understanding that whilst he's a filmmaker, Wes Anderson will constantly evolve as a creator, and it might not necessarily stick to the niche, but if you give someone, like it's like when designers, they go, like within fashion and other places, they go off brand as such, people then don't like that. So maybe he kind of felt like in order to maybe dabble again in something else that's a little bit more muted and a bit more intimate, he had to back it up and to keep people interested in him through that kind of typical style. Yeah,
so what essentially you're saying is the mindset he has when approaching something like Asteroid City is a completely different mindset, obviously, to when he did, say, the Royal Tenenbaums like 15, 20 years ago, whatever. Yeah. And because of that, you know, I don't know, I think it'd be really interesting to like know what his procedure is every time he goes into a film, because I know filmmakers have different sort of thing. I don't know. You make a really good point though, for sure.
I think that maybe him having so many like big names was a mistake.
Okay.
Not that they don't give such a good performance, but I think that there would be more of a disconnect between their character and them as an actor. So it's like, oh, he's not the hotel manager, he's Steve Carell.
Yeah.
It's not like that other actor, it's Margot Robbie, you know?
Like Maya Hawke.
Yeah.
I every time I saw her, I could only think of Stranger
Things.
Yeah.
And I know that that's unfortunate, and then like as an actor, it's something that I would hate to have somebody like only see me as another character that I'd been in. But that is literally all I saw. So if she'd been cut, it was a upcoming actor. I feel like even in that, I would have been like, oh, okay, this feels a little bit more real than just it being.
Yeah.
Maya Hawke.
I think like it's fine to have like big names in it. Like that's the whole goal as a filmmaker. You want big.
It's become one of his trademarks.
Yeah. But I think having such a big volume of them and like just having them have their own stories, but none of them are really a focus. It's tough.
Sometimes works against what you're trying to achieve.
Tough to connect to people. So it's like, wow, Scarlett Johansson, I remembered her name, was amazing in this, but it's not like Midge Campbell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And she was amazing in it, but it's tough to focus on that when it's like, and like not even all of the characters were named.
This is another thing. It's like, what was so-and-so's name? Oh, it's just Jason Schwartzman. Or that's how I would refer to them as, like Scarlett Johansson or Jason Schwartzman or Bill Murray. Bill Murray is actually not in this film, and I think it's like the first
one since Bottle Rocket.
Yeah, that he's not in, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But just to really wrap up the conversation, I think I think it's pretty clear on how we kind of feel about the film. It's very much a mixed bag for me. I think I still like it more than The French Dispatch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not quite as much as Isle of Dogs. Definitely nowhere near as much as the Grand Budapest Hotel. But I don't know. Like, what would you guys like to see from Wes Anderson next? Is there a specific genre? Because I would love to see Wes Anderson do a horror film.
I would love to. They did an SNL sketch about that, where it's like he did as if Wes Anderson did a slasher film.
Yeah.
And it's like Moonrise Kingdom, with like the letters being like, sincerely, the murderers, we're getting into your house. And like, hey, please leave us alone. Sincerely, the family. It's stuff like that. And it's ridiculous, but I think it would be really funny.
I think it'd be really great. I think just like the one scene in the Grand... I keep talking about Grand Budapest, but there's the one scene where Willem Dafoe's character is chasing Jeff Goldblum's character, and it's honestly some of the most intense shit I've ever seen, and I did not expect that. And I was like, if he's capable of doing that, like, that is his horror audition, I guess. I'd be so down to see a Wes Anderson horror film. Why not?
Mm-hmm. I'd love to watch him and, like, a horror director swap scripts.
That would be great.
Like, imagine, like, him and Ari Aster, they swap scripts.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
That could be fun. Who do you think would pull it off better? Who would you think...
How are you measuring that, though?
I don't know. Like, do you think Ari Aster is more likely to pull off like an indie drama about family and these quirky...
That's what he does anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, Hereditary.
Yeah.
Great little comedy, that is.
Great fun for the whole family.
Yeah. Or Wes Anderson doing a horror film. But the thing is, I wouldn't want Wes Anderson to do a horror film to make it like all other horror films. I'd want him to do a horror film because I think he would put a distinct mark on that genre through his unique way of storytelling and aesthetic. That's what I'd say. But yeah, where would you put Asteroid City in, like, your kind of ranking of Wes Anderson? Would you put it quite far down? Would you kind of put it in the middle?
How many films does he have out?
I don't know. Like,
I think it's like 12.
Should we try and name them?
Oh shit.
No, but speaking of names, I actually have a quick game that we can play.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
So can you identify which Wes Anderson movies these quotes come from? There's not many, and this is a quiz by BuzzFeed. Shout out to BuzzFeed.
No.
So the first quote is, you just got to say which movie you think it's from.
Okay.
Yeah, Pano, you can play along as well if you want.
Shit.
Okay. Yeah. In other words, we're your dogs.
Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, I think that's pretty straightforward. The second. Are you okay?
No, I was just laughing because that's the one that I haven't seen, but I could tell.
But you could, yeah.
Because it said dog, you know.
Yeah. Did you know Isle of Dogs is I Love Dogs?
Because he loves dogs.
Aww.
Yeah. Anyways, holy swearing cuss.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Jesus Christ, someone's a Wes Anderson fan. Okay. You just smile and act natural, and then you sucker punch him.
Bottle Rocket? Rushmore?
Any takes? Nope. Ebony?
Oh, I
you just smile and act natural, and then you sucker punch him.
am I getting punched? Is it something I should know? I feel like it is now that the way you're looking at me.
3, 2.
Zissou?
Yep. Yep. Bro just said this. Okay, next one. You haven't worked a day.
I did them wrong.
Yeah. Clearly, you don't like the film well enough.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
but-
No, but this is the thing. In all honesty, I had a split second and I was like, I think it is. But then I prefer not to say things for fear of them being wrong.
I said
Aw.
2 things wrong.
Yeah. Bro was like, Zissou.
Zazoo.
To be fair, it is quite a long title. Anyways, you haven't worked a day in your life. How could you be exhausted?
Budapest? No?
Royal Tenenbaum.
French Dispatch? We're just going through them all.
Can you say it again?
Moonrise Kingdom?
You haven't worked a day in your life. How could you be exhausted?
Rushmore?
Nope.
Fuck.
We've gone through them all.
It's Bottle Rocket.
Oh, no.
The next one. This is my real job. Scoutmaster Troop 55.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay. I saved Latin. What did you ever do?
Rushmore.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Rudeness is just the expression of
Grand
fear.
Budapest.
She's on it.
I'm so sorry.
Did
I'm really sorry.
Did you like rewatch all of them last night or something?
I don't know.
I guess I've still got a lot of healing to do.
Darjeeling Limited.
She's wearing a watch.
Okay, that is
so
it. Basically,
sorry.
Lola's the winner. And I think we will end it on that. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and talking Asteroid City with me. And why are you still laughing, huh?
Just now.
What's funny?
Because she won.
I've never done that before.
Was that fun?
Yeah, it was good.
Good stuff.
Didn't even make a quiz. You stole it from BuzzFeed.
Mm.
I did.
You rated Asteroid City more than French Dispatch.
I can't remember what I gave the French Dispatch. But Asteroid City I gave 3 stars to.
Oh wow.
Wait, 3 stars on a what system?
On a
5.
5-star system.
What is
You can
this?
do halves as well, so like 3.5.
Yeah.
Oh, is this letterboxed?
Yeah.
Oh.
You have Letterboxd.
I know I do, but I don't.
Yeah. Right. Anyways, guys.
Anyway.
Thank you so much for coming on
Thank you for having us.
and talking Wes Anderson.
Of course.
We'll hopefully see you on very soon again
Hopefully.
for something. Maybe Barbie. We'll see. Maybe.
That'd be fun.
Can we dress? We all have to be in pink.
in pink. Okay, fine. That's what we'll do.
Is that the
Okay.
deal?
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Sounds good. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. We'll be back very soon for another episode of the Popcorn Podcast. Cheers.